Hey everyone, this is Evan with HelioScope. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive into creating utility rates in HelioScope. So what I've done so far is pull up a San Diego Gas and Electric DR time of use rate here, and I'm in HelioScope's beta reports and financial modeling tool. I've collapsed the sidebar. You can do that here by just clicking this collapse sidebar. I'll do that actually in a second. So I'm going to go to the utility rate section, and then I'm going to collapse the sidebar. I'm just doing that so I can have two tabs open at once. I'm going to add a new rate here, and this will prompt me here to give it a name. So I'm going to call this SD, SDG, and DR time dash TOU basic to differentiate it from the all-electric rates. And let's see, let's scroll down here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to define some energy charges. So what HelioScope wants is to have different rates for different times of use or different seasons. So the way I would sort of pre-set this up looking at this rate, I've got summer energy, I've got on-peak and off-peak, and then I have winter energy on-peak and off-peak. So that's telling me that there are 4 different rates. So I'm actually just going to pre-make those now, just so we can see there's 4 rates. And I'm going to name this one on-peak summer, off-peak summer, and then on-peak winter, off-peak winter. Then I'm going to enter these rates into these tools as we see them. So first we have on peak up to 130% of baseline energy is 34 cents. So I'm just going to add for on peak it's 34,163. And we can add a tier because you can see above 130%. So that's a tier 2. So I'm going to add a tier, and I'm going to set that to 0.46503. So these are the 2 numbers I've entered so far. I don't know what the monthly cap is yet. I'm going to figure that out in a minute. But just for now, I'm just going to enter that in. The net meter rate is the value that I'm going to get if I'm a net exporter of electricity. So am I getting full value? So let's make this 34,163, and there we go. So I'm just saying when I export energy, I get the lowest tier. So now let's move on to off-peak summer. So that's here. So let's do 2 tiers, 0.27906. So that value. And maybe I should just copy these. So then the 37, and we're going to get this value for that. On peak winter, so just grab that value, and we'll do a first tier and a second tier. And we'll do one more here, which is going to be our off-peak winter. So I'll add one here, oops, do a point like that, and then a point like this. Okay, so now we have these defined, but we haven't told HelioScope when these apply, right? So if we look at this table, we can set right now we're saying that all times of the year, throughout all months and all the times of the day, are on peak summer. So we're actually going to need to fill this in based on the time windows that are defined in this rate. So let me see if I can figure that out quickly. You probably should have Googled that. Oh, here we go. All right, summer applies June 1st through October 31st. So let's do our winter. So let's do our winter off peak is November 1st through May 31st. So November. So we're going to call that our winter off peak. I'll put that as a 4. So then I'm going to drag this all the way across here. I'll do the same thing for January. so then we need to go to May 31st. So sorry, entering the wrong number. And then I'll just drag this out to May 31st. Okay, so now we have summer and winter defined, but we need to define our peaks and off peaks. So let's see. Actually, more likely this should be a 2, right? So then we can have, so right now I'm going to make this 2, which is summer off peak. So right now we have everything as off peak, summer and winter. We've just breaking it down by seasons. So if I want to make something on peak, we can see that on peak is from noon to 6 p.m. on weekdays. So we'll get to that in a second. So weekdays, so we're going to say this is our summer on peak is number 1. So we'll say on peak from noon to 6. And man, am I bad at this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I forgot what 6 would be. Okay, so there's our summer on peak. We just need to do the same thing for winter on peak, which is number 3. So I'm going to make this a 3, apply that to the hours that it applies. 3 like that. There we go. Okay, so now that is, now we have this schedule here that is all 4 of those hours. If you scroll down here, I'm going to toggle off this demand charge just because I'm seeing it now. So this applies to all days of the week. So, and we can see here that actually that all other hours, so basically non-weekdays, are off peak. So what I need to do is create a new day table. So time of use table. I'm going to click this plus button, and I'm going to define Saturday and Sunday. So default is going to take every day that I don't define in this other table. So Saturday and Sunday get their own schedule, which should just be off peaks. So 4 through May. Let's do in November 4. So this is just going to be all off peaks. Off peak here. And then this will be summer off peak. I'll just drag that across here. That's summer off peak. Okay, so we've set up the rate and we've set up the time of use schedule. All we have to do now is put in our monthly caps. So so what we're at here is 130%. Like if you look at the rate schedule, it says 130% of baseline is how they determine what your credit is, or what the tier limit is. So instead of just telling you what the tier limit is, we have to do some math to figure that out. So I'm going to scroll down here. We have these baseline credits apply for different areas. So in the coast, actually, I'm going to, so we'll do a coastal one. So if I go, I have an Excel sheet here, where what I'm doing is I'm saying the average, so one other step that we need to do here is that they're providing the tier limits in terms of days. So you get a tier credit by day. So 9.0 per day. I'm just using average days in a month. I've Googled this 30.542, and that will give. I'm gonna use a fixed monthly tier limit. So in the summer, my coastal limit is 9. So that if I just multiply 9 by 30.2, I get this value. And then in the winter, it's 9.2. So those are my tier limits for coastal. So I'm going to scroll here. I want this up at the same time. So for summer, my monthly caps are 273.78, 273.78, and then for winter, it's 279.85 or 864, and then same thing here, 279.864. And there we go. So actually I'm going to need to go up here. I'm going to rename this basic and coastal. All right, so that's one rate that we've defined. I'll make I'm going to set this as public. That's something that I can do as an admin. But now you'll be able to find this rate within the utility rate library, so you can see the results of what we just made. And that gives you a general structure for how you can create utility rates in HelioScope. If you have any questions, just shoot us a chat or email, and we'd be happy to help you get set up. Thanks.